Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. Welcome to This Week in Metals. There was no last week in metals because it was spring break for my kids. And so we were traveling, looking
We
at
do have
different
lives,
walls.
by the way, people.
Right, right.
We go skiing, we go fishing, and what happens to the show? Where is he? We're fishing.
Eh,
I mean, you're gonna have to put up with us. But you can see by looking through the window, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Chicago, which it's been a long time coming, and we're really looking forward to kind of filling you in on what's going on.
Yeah, so let's start off with gold as we like to
Sure.
do. Gold was up 0.5% last week.
Which
Um,
wasn't bad considering the choppiness, right?
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was the second higher weekly close, but it was also a very minute higher close in the previous week
Right.
as well. Um, I was optimistic for during the week because
Okay.
we had a nice little double bottom
Yeah,
form in the
sure
gold
did.
market,
Yeah.
and we saw the upside breakout, the confirmation point
Yeah.
exceeded on Thursday last week. But we didn't get the upside follow through, at least not initially. We sold off on Friday back to the 20-day moving average. Nonetheless, from a technical perspective, anyways, I remain optimistic on gold. A little bit premature to perhaps suggest that the bottom is in,
All right.
particularly after the worst quarter for gold in like 4 years. So the January through March period was pretty abysmal.
Well, but see now here's the yin and the yang. That remember, there's always two sides to that coin when you flip it. The other side of that coin is Gold Eagle 1 ounce sales from the U.S. Mint were the highest they've been in over a decade for a quarter. And here's the interesting thing: the premium from the dealers on that was the highest it's been in 5 or 6 years. So very, very odd, give and take here.
I would say that that is reflected in our own sales because we sold a boatload of gold eagles in March in particular, if you
Yeah,
recall,
yeah.
and at a pretty high premium, uh,
And you know
but
what
it
else?
was a
We
high
had
premium to us.
well,
So
and the premium, we're still paying a high premium, but we had a lot of dealers coming to us asking us to offload product for them too, which doesn't happen as often as it used to. And so we've had a lot of movement in metal, and you know what? A lot of movement in metal is a good thing. It means that people are interested, they're buying, they're selling, they're taking profit, they're looking at lower levels. So it was an exciting week.
yeah, and supply, in gold products in general, kind of continues to be sort of fits and starts. We'll have availability, and then suddenly everything will be on a 1 to 3 week delay, and then it
Yeah,
comes back in inventory,
yeah.
and so again, kind of sporadic
Well,
in terms
I,
of
I will
availability.
share with you probably one of the best people in the gold industry, Asai, and also our good friends at BAM too. I called both of them and I said, silver quotes are like playing ping pong here. I go, where are we at? They said, hey, we're going through the same thing, guys. We're trying to get stuff out of Peru. We don't even know what the price is. So I felt a little better that, some of the bigger boys that we know that are really, really top of the tree we're going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad when you go to your local dealer or you're getting quotes online and the changes are dramatic. I think it's going to stay this way for a while. And we've talked about this, I think, the last couple of shows.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
another bright spot. News came out last week that the Central Bank of Hungary had
Oh, I
bought
saw
2 million ounces
Right.
of gold in the month of March, nearly, well, actually, tripling their gold reserves, and that's
Not
pretty
only that,
impressive.
they're the first European country, I can't remember in how long, it was quite a ways, that actually had enough metal in reserve to match debt. And everybody sort of went, "What's going on here?" You know?
That's crazy talk.
Yeah, it's crazy. What do you mean you're not in debt? How can you live? You know? So yeah, I thought that was rather interesting.
So get this, the rationale for the purchase, according to the Central
Oh,
Bank of Hungary,
okay.
was long-term national and economic policy strategy objectives. You know what
Huh?
that says to me, Pete?
Well, wait a minute. Yeah,
They
go ahead.
want something other than dollars in reserve.
Ah, that's
The,
what
the
hit me
writing is on the
first. But I
wall.
Yeah, oh,
Trillions and
and
trillions
and
of
Putin
stimulus.
Putin came out. I mean, Russia came out and flat out said we are divesting 100% from our dollar, which he has, and China's talking about manufacturing their own currency as a crypto and walking away from the dollar completely,
Not
which is
just
pretty
talking
hard to
about
do
it, it's a
because they
done
have $2
deal.
trillion of bonds sitting in their reserves. But that would be interesting to say the least, you know?
Yeah, so big things seem to be afoot, and it doesn't
Yeah,
seem to
yeah.
bode well for the dollar, in my personal opinion.
I
So
think they
the
smell weakness. I
yeah
think
the
they smell weakness, baby.
so the World Gold Council is thinking that central banks are going to be net buyers again in
Oh, that's
2021,
interesting. That's an
and
excellent source, too.
yeah, and well, they have been for a decade now,
Yeah,
with one little bit of a hiccup in the third quarter of last year that was probably COVID related,
yeah,
some
yeah. But
divestiture.
but really, let's say for the last 3 years, they've really been aggressive. All right, we've seen them buying in smaller amounts, but then I think initially the Bank of England came in, and then everyone just followed suit. So I agree with you 100%. It's been a steady acclamation to buying gold, and everybody seems to be doing it. And really, the only thing that has been offloading gold has been the ETFs.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in the first quarter, we saw outflows of 170 metric tons of gold from the
Say that again.
ETFs.
That's kind of a big number.
170
170
tons.
tons.
107 of those 170 tons came in March alone.
That's
So,
interesting.
and
That's
and what's really interesting and is that Hungary was buying, during that big sell-off. There
uh-huh.
was no real indication in the market, in terms of a blip up that might have
Yeah.
indicated somebody was buying 2 million ounces of gold. So CPM thinks that it was probably off market, perhaps from another central
Huh.
bank.
That's interesting. And
Speculation
and
at this
and
point.
the mint's been stamping like crazy. And Director Ryder, please open up Denver. We need coins badly. Come
Yeah.
on.
Anyways, I'd like to see a little bit more upside follow through to sort of confirm that double bottom. I'm eyeing 18 1828.83
Okay.
to 1833.11.
Yeah.
That's the measuring objective off the double bottom, and also 38.2% retracement of the correction off the all-time high. So we get back to that level or higher. I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling pretty good about the longer term uptrend in the dollar. Besides ETF outflows,
Yeah.
it's worth noting that through Thursday last week, we're on another daily run of outflows. We're up to 14 consecutive days. Again, you may recall that in the month of March, we saw outflows nearly every day
Yeah.
in
We did.
March.
We did.
So then we
Yeah.
had a little bit of a pause, some inflows, and then we're back up to 14 consecutive days of outflows. So that's a big
Right.
hurdle. The higher interest rates and a firmer dollar, generally speaking, is a headwind for gold as well. But I like some of the tailwinds that we're starting to see, including improved physical demand in Asia.
Improved physical demand in Asia has really been significant, and which you and I have talked about for 8 months now, and it's nice to see, and they're buying aggressively, and there was a big dust up today in India about allowing more people in the shops so they could sell more. So I thought that was interesting. And also more bullish news. Looks like the African mining community is talking about striking again, and if they do, that'll be real interesting because not only will the premiums be high, there won't be as much product around. So, lots going on in gold. Lots going on in gold.
Buy it now while you can.
Buy breaks and not rallies.
Yeah.
And
Let's move on.
hey, you know what? Speaking of ETFs, we saw silver ETFs selling this week. What happened there?
Well, I think that there is some opposing fundamentals in the works right now.
Okay.
There continues to be some optimism about global recovery, and in fact, the
Yeah.
IMF upped their expectation for global growth for 2021 to 6%.
What was the number? What was the number?
6%, which is
I
something we haven't seen
said it was
since the
going to be
1980s.
They said it was going to be 2 to 3. They doubled it.
They were,
Wow.
I think, previously in January, or I'm sorry, in March, they were looking for like 4.4 or something like that.
All right.
But so now they're looking for 6% growth. Most of that, I
number.
think, coming from Asia.
Okay.
But we've gotten some bad news recently on the COVID front, particularly in Europe, and so there's some
Yes.
mounting concerns about new lockdowns and concerns about new variants of the virus.
Well, the Brazilian two is the Brazilian 2 COVID is not reacting the way they wanted to the initial vaccine, and I believe now they're kind of saying no, it's people that didn't get the vaccine. The vaccine is working. And the Brazilian strain is very, very strong. And that's the same one that's coming through our border right now, as a matter of fact. So there's a lot of people worried about that. So that makes sense, too. That also, here's another thing. If you remember, we used to count cars as they came across the line and light trucks, so we would know what manufacturing numbers were. Now they're counting the chips that are consumed for the manufacturing of the vehicle, and the chip count consumption has gone down. So either there's less being supplied because we're having a shortage of chips, which therefore would show a lighter consumption of silver and conductive metals. I think I find that kind of interesting that, it might be as much ETF selling as there is less demand, as we're seeing less chips being manufactured.
Yeah, that could be a factor. I was going to talk a little bit about auto sales when we get to the PGMs here.
Yeah.
So basically the upside in silver has been contained by the 100-day moving averages so far. It got right up to it, sold off again on Friday from that important technical level. But I'm inclined to be encouraged overall. Not to say that we can't go back to the low end of the recent range. Certainly if there are more lockdowns in Europe and even in the United States, some states are closing schools again, I understand, and that kind of thing. So we'll be watching all of this really closely. We could definitely see demand destruction as a result of that, including auto sales for sure. If we see more lockdowns, that could end up being a benefit to gold, but we can find benefits elsewhere. I'd rather not have a COVID benefit if we can avoid
Absolutely.
it.
I'm with you 100%, and I'm sure all our viewers are too. So, hey, let me ask you something. Let's talk a little bit about PGMs. Really erratic, huh? I mean, we've seen some real choppy trade.
Yeah, I was pretty encouraged about platinum.
Okay.
And then it had retraced 61.8% of the recent decline, the recent corrective move, almost to the tick. And then, sort of paused there and then got shellacked on Friday. It was off about 3% on Friday.
Yeah.
It ended up down about just under 1% for the week.
It's really looking tasty.
Close back below $1,200.
Yeah.
So again, the trend still looks really good. And I think, again, these renewed COVID concerns are probably a factor in the sell-off late last week. So we'll keep an eyeball on that.
Well, I concur with you on that, and silver too. We forgot to mention silver had held $25. They went at it hot and heavy and tried to close it under there. Nope, it ended the week above that. Platinum strong, demand for palladium very, very good this week too. So it might have looked bad on the charts, but from our side, remember we do the physicals, didn't look bad at all, guys.
Yeah, so palladium was down 1% last week. It was the second consecutive lower weekly close, but still generally holding within the higher end of the range. Several weeks ago, we saw a pretty definitive upside breakout of the range within the range. So again, I remain optimistic there. And so first quarter auto sales were up 11%. Which is a pretty darn strong number.
I think that kind of shocked everybody. Don't you think? I mean, everyone was just gobsmacked. They were just like, oh my God, because nobody even could have guessed that number. What were light trucks?
I didn't break that out specifically for the quarter, but trucks were quite strong. In fact, Ford reported that they sold more than 7,000 of their new hybrid F-150s.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you know what? Two interesting things happened too, as far as construction, because construction, remember now, it's important. Your average apartment can have anywhere from 40 to 140 pounds of new copper in it. And Bentley, of all people, announced that their company is going to build the largest freestanding structure in the history of Florida, followed right behind the Vantage, Aston Martin's new building. So the two offshore automotive manufacturers are building enormous structures down south to absorb all of the people panicking and leaving New York. And I think that you're going to see a lot more light trucks getting sold because these things are enormous, man.
I hadn't heard about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not surprised about the exodus from New York.
No, shocking, huh?
No. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about copper.
Yeah, please do.
It was up 0.8, 8% last week.
Yeah.
Again, 0.8% last week. It was the first higher weekly close in 4, which is kind of encouraging. There seems to be really strong interest, at or just below the $4
I'm glad
level.
You pointed that out. $4 is the magic number. They beat it up, got everybody short under $4, and then rallied to 23 cents and killed them. And then then there was this massive wave of profit taking, and it came back down to $4. The trade has been radical, but the people that are buying it and holding it below $4 for consumption, for usage, are really, like the COOs out there seem to be doing their companies very well because they're buying product below current market prices. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah. So kind of generally a series of higher lows and lower highs in the last several weeks. So we've seen these types of continuation patterns in the copper market throughout this rally, and this one looks very, very similar. So again, I remain encouraged, and I think the trend is still your friend.
Well, let's put it this way. I had an interesting conversation in Europe the other day. I was talking to one of Volkswagen an individual who was on the inside of what Volkswagen was doing and was talking to me about their electrification, and really, they're really going to go electric all the way soon. And I said to him, what are the forwards like on copper? They must be astronomical. They must be buying 4 and 5, 6 years out and just blowing the charts off the warrant market. And he says, they haven't bought anything yet. It's like, you talk about 5 years of construction and you haven't even bought copper yet. And he says, that's what I'm hearing. And so I found that rather interesting, because I don't know about you, I'm making a big push. I'm not telling anybody, and I'm buying as much copper as I need, because now they're going to have to go.
That's the tell. That's the tell, though.
Yeah, right. You know.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go to China, and China's going to say hi.
Yeah, we got some copper for you. Special deal.
We got a deal for you. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So I think the red metal, what you're saying, I'm with you 100%. I think that under the $4 mark seems to be where people are entering into it. Around that 423, is that your technical area? That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, that's the ballpark on the upside. We get above that, and I think we can continue to talk about $5 and higher.
Yeah. So really, overall, to kind of recap the news, really choppy, violent trade. Big premiums on metal that's not available. Try to find some silver eagles. Best of luck, guys. I mean, they're just, we got them when they come.
We got them. Don't tell them that. We got them.
We buy them when they come. We ain't saying they're going to last long. Oh, and we got some bars too, right?
100-ounce bars.
100-ounce bars, yeah. And
that's about all right now.
Yeah, but they ain't going to last long either.
Smaller stuff's reportedly a week out.
Is that what we are? We're about a week out after we get cleaned out of this stuff.
Yeah, but we do have availability on 100-ounce bars, so buy a big one.
Come on. Hey, all you apes out there, clean us out. Come on, baby. We got some product for you, So
exactly. All right, my friend. I think we've covered all the bases.
I do too.
Give us a like. Please subscribe.
And give us a follow. This will be in your mailbox when you come in. You can get a chance to review and find out what's going on. And this is Pete Thomas in Chicago, thanking you for stopping by.
I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. Have a great week.